Greetings and welcome to AlonzoBash Podcast. I'm your host, Alonzo Bash. And as always, man, we got I would say legends, but this is a young man like myself. Of course, he's a little younger than me. I look at him as one of
Yeah,
the leading figures in the podcast space. Of course, he's from my hometown, Arima. So I'm always excited to talk to fellow Arimians, man. I don't want to waste no time. Ladies and gentlemen, he's here. KG from Talk
yeah,
to Talk.
man.
Welcome, brother.
Yeah, man. Wagwan.
Hey, it's
Yeah,
you, man. It's you.
yeah.
All right, so this is the first time really linking up, man. So pretty much, I just want to touch base on the backstory a little bit. Of course, we're
Yeah,
from the same area, so we have some similarities, So you're born and raised in Arima, right? Nettoville.
yeah, for sure. Born and raised, yeah.
All right, so tell me about the Nettoville community, man. What that community is like for folks who are not too familiar with Arima itself. Arima is a big place, eh? So
Yeah, for
Nettoville,
sure, for sure.
Nettoville is like the heart of Arima.
Correct.
Yeah, man.
So I mean, Nettoville was always a family-oriented
Mm,
neighborhood. A lot of old folks still live in this neighborhood. The
right, right.
majority of people in the neighborhood is actually older people.
Yeah.
So it's a quiet, nice area. Probably one of the quietest areas in
Mm,
Arima.
yeah, man.
So yeah, it's a good vibes, man.
Yeah, it's funny because when I had asked you earlier when Arima you from, you told me Nettoville, and for a
Yeah,
split second I had a brain freeze because I was like, wait a minute, Nettoville, and wait,
yeah,
I actually, like I mentioned, I actually was born and grew up in that area,
right,
Nettoville, welcome area, but on the lower end. Nice.
yeah, right.
All right, how you talk about family life, man?
Mm.
Mom and dad and so forth. You got siblings, brothers and sisters?
Yeah. Mom, dad grew up with my mom and my sister.
Mm,
Um, my dad is Bajan, so that is like the Bajan side
okay.
of the thing. Yeah, but I really grew up with my mom and my sister, and
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time with my grandmother.
Okay.
Same, you know.
Nice. And
Yeah,
grandma from Arima side as well.
right, yeah.
Mm, nice. All right. What about the school in primary school and secondary school, junior sec or what
Yeah.
have you?
Well, Arima Boys RC,
Yeah. Mm,
and then from Arima Boys RC, I went to St. Joseph College.
okay. Nice.
And after St. Joseph College was music.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when did you realize you have a gift or a passion, so to speak, for music? I mean, is it something that as a youth you always like? For me, I grew up listening to radio a lot, so I realized at a young age I always loved media. So for
Yeah.
you, when you did discover that?
Um, I can't tell the exact time, but
Yeah.
from a very young age, I always knew that I was in love with just listening to the song, the music. My mom was always into music. My uncles, I would remember him having like them CD players with hundreds of CDs. Something about seeing people with huge catalogs of music
Right.
was
Yeah.
something that used to interest me in the household. So if I walk in a house and you
Yeah.
have a record player with, records, I'd be
Yeah.
like, well, you have plenty records, but like something about that would interest me. It was almost like it was a video game to
Yeah.
like put a CD in a radio or whatnot and play and hear the music. So
Mm,
that by itself was very intriguing to me.
yeah.
I think from there it became a hobby, like just saying on by a radio and just trying out new CDs. I wouldn't even know who's the artist,
Yeah.
but just putting in the CD in the radio was something was special about it. So I think that's where I really found my love for music.
Mm, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So I guess at this point you out of school, you're a teenager. When was the what was the breaking point? Like when? Cause I understand you do producing as well, right? And you're also an artist. So when was the
Yeah.
first time you actually got into the music, like recorded and got exposed to like the studio settings and stuff like that?
So from the time I finished school, you know,
Mm,
um, as I always tell this story, I watched this movie by the name of Hustle and Flow.
yeah, man.
And in the movie, they basically were showing you how to build a studio,
Yeah,
with the egg grates on the wall and all that kind of vibe. So it was basically showing you how to create a studio from nothing,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
You know, so that movie inspired me. So from the time I finished high school, I
Mm,
kind of followed the exact same pattern. I had egg crates on my wall, you know, I had my condenser microphone, I had my mixing board, I had my laptop, and that was my studio, you know,
yeah,
and that was like 2007, 2008, you know.
yeah, man.
And I was, yeah, started to record artists in the neighborhood,
Yeah.
you know, and that really where it started, you know.
Remember the first artist you record? I'm sure. I'm assuming you record yourself first.
And I didn't even record myself first.
Yes.
Nah, I didn't record myself first because I wanted to do the right way. I wanted to sit down behind the laptop and
Uh,
record somebody. So I mean it had plenty artists in the neighborhood already.
yeah.
So I was like, yo, I have a setup home there, you know, come and
Mm,
record something. And my
yeah.
first recording was a rapper by the name of Sicka Flow.
Pick up. Okay.
Yeah, he was the first, you know, and from there they started to record everybody, you know. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you started to record. I believe you started building a name for yourself. So at this
Yeah.
point now, I'm trying to get the history of the thing, right? So at this point now, where did your involvement with Trini Bad began?
Um so doing music, as I say, from the time I finished school, you
Yeah.
know, so I was going through all different phases with the music, you know. We produce soca, we do reggae, we do the hip hop, we do the dance. So we was doing all different things to find a strategy, you know,
Yeah.
because Trinidad wasn't known for like a huge genres of like of music. It was soca, you know, the 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 chutney, the calypsos, you know.
Yeah.
But
Traditional.
it felt almost impossible to break the gate with any other type of genre of music.
Mm,
And basically, I sort of had this vision, you know, and I met Swanee on Facebook,
yeah.
you know, and I just felt like he had the image. I
Mm,
wasn't really a fan of the music per se, but
yeah.
image was like, all right,
Mm.
this
Yeah.
could work. I could see
Yeah.
this working, you know,
Yeah.
and brought him up in the studio. And
Mm,
I told them, I say, bro, here we're going, going. I
mm,
going to do music, we're going to shoot the videos, and we're going to try to bust the gate as real as it is.
right.
You know, this is what it is, and this is what we're going to give them.
Mm,
And the first video was Go For Them, which was like the first successful Trini Bad song.
yeah.
You know, and from there we just started to do more and more. And then I started to branch off and work with artists like Jelano and Meds Boss. And the more I was shooting the videos, and I was doing these things for free,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I wasn't just going into the hood with my camera and just
Mm,
shooting these videos and just putting them out rapidly,
yeah.
you know, and Trinidad
But,
Bad emerged, you know.
right. So I want to get understand something really quickly. So you went from meeting Prince Wani and doing the music, and you mentioned videography. Now, did you have any experience prior to that, or you just buy a camera and realize like this is the
Yeah,
vision that?
so I
Mm,
bought a camera to shoot my videos because I was
right.
an artist before.
Right.
And I bought a cheap camera, nothing special. It was my
Yeah.
first camera ever. I never shoot a video in my life. And I probably practice on myself and
Yeah.
I practice on like one or two other friends.
Right.
But I
Right.
was not videographer to say
Okay.
like I really knew what I was doing.
Trying that thing.
And yeah, and I meet Swanee and I mean that was the reason I buy the camera in the first place, you know, like to shoot videos.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Swanee was like my first major project,
Yeah, man.
you know, and yeah, the visuals kind of put a image to the music.
Yeah.
And it was like the first time where this generation kind of saw that type of element, you
Mm,
know. It was, yeah, from there it was just history, you know.
yeah. Yeah. Where the
Yeah.
where did the name Trinidad came from? Was that something that you guys created, or that just came to be the name itself? That genre.
Well, that's a very interesting question because people would say all different things, you know,
Mm,
but from my memory,
yeah.
I would always hear like it was a word that people would have been using. I
Yeah.
don't necessarily know who firstly say Trinidad, but I
Yeah.
remember even before the movement, I
Mm.
would always hear Swanee say Trinidad. I was
Mm.
all like, I would hear a group of people that's using this word,
Yeah.
Trinidad,
Yeah.
Trinidad. But the
Yeah.
thing is, the word bad was always part of our culture.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we used to always use that word, like that real bad boy, that car real bad boy, like bad was always a word that we used to use in the lingo. So I
Yeah.
never really take it on to be like, who come up with that? I would expect a Trinidadian to
Mm.
flip the D and put a B.
Yeah.
I would expect them to do that, Trinidad,
Yeah.
Trinidad,
Yeah.
and then DJ Pun created a mix, and
Right.
he took all the Trinidad songs and he put it on the mix and he called it Trinidad. And I
Mm.
guess with the mix now, it
Yeah.
packaged what was Trinidad dancehall because the name of the mix was Trinidad Mix.
Yeah, man.
So, Trinidad.
Yeah, makes sense, man. And big up Pon same way because I did watch an interview you did with Pon, and what I really appreciate about the interview that you do, you created that platform. In my opinion, we know the media things stay, especially in Trinidad or in the Caribbean on the whole. I would say a lot of people that's in the culture, unless they mainstream or they're with a certain group organization, they don't really get their stories and the real history of certain things. So with Pun, I mean, like you mentioned, I think the word Trinidad, like you mentioned, was one of those words that was there in the
Yeah.
music. And he just package the music or the genre, so to speak. And yeah, he even played on
Call it
radio.
Trinidad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all them times. Yeah. So nice, man. Nice, nice. All right. So what was it like, man, when you see the successes of Trinidad start taking off? I mean, it took. I mean, in the Caribbean, especially in Jamaica, the Trinidad song was everywhere. So
Yeah.
what was that experience for you? I mean, as a youth, as a young man, it seemed like the success came together pretty fast.
Yeah, pretty fast, pretty fast. Everything happened like overnight, literally.
Yeah,
Literally. Like it wasn't even like it didn't even grow into something. It just
yeah,
happened.
yeah.
I remember when we shot the video like Sunday evening, and
Mm,
by Monday 10 a.m. it was already out on YouTube. And in
uh,
the first day we get like I think it was like 50,000 views. But
yeah.
those days 50,000 views was like
Are you plenty, right?
it was amazing to even see 50,000 views in one day. And then
Yeah,
the second day you'd see 100,000. And the third day was 200,000. And then it reached a million in like 2 weeks.
yeah.
And we was like, dog, what is happening here?
Mm,
And from that it was just more and more and more and more. And then
yeah,
probably like 6 months time and like Trinidad was here to stay.
yeah, yeah.
So it was definitely, you know,
Mm,
very inspirational. That's the word I would use. Like to see that we create something from nothing. It definitely was inspirational.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Over the years, a lot of ups and downs in the Trinidad culture, the Trinidad movement, the Trinidad,
Mhm.
um, you know, culture on the whole. We have
Yeah.
lost a couple artists as well.
Hmm.
Um, what's some of the misconceptions people may have about the genre or the people as part of the Trinidad culture?
Um, I mean, so many misconceptions,
Mm,
but I think that one of the major misconceptions is I think a lot of people don't take time to understand
mm,
what is Trinidad.
yeah.
They just look at it as a genre of music
Mm,
and they don't see it as a movement or something that was birthed through something.
yeah.
Just like how soca music was birthed and calypso music was birthed and carnival was birthed. It was birthed through rebellion and birthed through pain.
Yeah.
And Trinidad is of the same nature, but just in a different nature,
Mm,
and in a different time,
yeah.
basically. You know, Trinidad was birthed in a time where 600 people would a year dying in Trinidad from gun violence.
Yeah.
You know, 50, 60 years ago, it did not have those types of problems.
Yeah.
Trinidad was birthed through those problems.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the same people who fell victim to these problems, which is gun violence and all these things, they are the same ones who singing the songs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, a man could want to change, but
Mm.
his environment and his reality not necessarily would change,
Yeah.
you know?
Mm.
And because of the lack of infrastructure, the lack of support from
Mm.
certain heads that could support it, but
Yeah.
rather treat it like a disease.
Mm.
And that's something that they've been doing
Yeah.
even before Trinidad, you know, they ignore a certain type of people,
Yeah.
you know,
Mm.
and that is basically what Trinidad is, you
Yeah.
know, is a child of a rich man that
Mm.
don't want to face the reality that he was never there for his child.
Wow, that's deep. Yeah,
You know,
yeah, that's deep, bro.
it's a real thing,
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
you know, and so people now will just have a misconception that
Mm.
it's just bad man thing, and you know it's not that. It's no different to the hip hop industry. It's
Yeah.
no different to the dance industry in Jamaica. It's
Yeah.
no different to all these things. We see so many rappers, Tupac and Biggie,
Yeah.
died from gun violence.
Mm.
But hip hop is probably one of the biggest genres in the world today. You
Yeah.
know, with
Yeah.
a little infrastructure, a little help,
Mm.
things could be better. But we
True.
don't have that. So we gotta just take whatever come and,
Yeah.
you know, and just hope for the best, you know?
Yeah, man. Um, when you was doing some research, when you was a kid, I guess at Newtown. No, I remember was as in Newtown. I remember was
Yeah.
RC and just stuff like that. You was pretty quiet, pretty laid back, from my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
That you now you have a level of which is the good thing, of course, is a level of confidence, and you're very outspoken, and you like to say, let's keep it real. You like to keep it real. Where
Yeah.
that where that realness that openness came from.
Um, well, I'm still a very quiet person, like,
Yeah.
believe it or not, right?
Mm,
That passion does only come out when we having these type of conversations,
yeah.
you know? So when we talking about the youth, so we're talking about Trinidad, or we're talking about the music industry, or we're talking about how we could help people and all these different types of things. That is where my passion lies.
Yeah.
So if I are wrong somebody and that is what they are about, they will get that out of me. You
Yeah.
know, I could relate to that.
Yeah.
Anything else, besides if it's Real Madrid and Barca, I ain't really going to be talking too much in your head about it. You
Yeah.
know, I don't talk about cars, I don't talk about politics, I don't talk about I just don't engage in certain types of conversations, you know.
Right. Right.
But I felt like me going through the industry and gathering so much experience and
Mm,
seeing so many different things, I felt like I did owe it to the generation coming after, that
yeah.
I had to give them the knowledge that I acquired like along my journey.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
I didn't have anybody to do that for me. So
Mm,
I just decided to pick up that mantle, and and then also I was seeing things in my industry that I really didn't agree with. You
yeah.
know, I felt like nobody wanted to rise up and say anything, so I took it upon myself
Yeah.
to fight for a cause, as they may call it.
Yeah. I want to back up a little bit with the Trini Bad conversation, because it just came at
Mm.
the, just you talking,
Yeah,
because like I say, I grew up in Trinidad, so I know how the culture is.
yeah.
Um, what was somebody pushback when you first started? Because like I said, you guys took a product and made it mainstream, but I'm
Hmm.
sure, like I said, it was not traditional. What was some of the pushback you guys got from the industry itself?
Well, I mean, first of all, like I remember when I now started to work with Swanee,
Yeah,
but we was working behind the scenes, so we had songs recorded.
yeah,
Like we had certain things ready to release basically.
yeah, yeah,
And I remember I would play it for like people behind the scenes, like just to hear what they would say. Now, days before I release it,
yeah,
and people go tell me straight up
yeah,
they will never play that on the radio. Nice let me know, brother man. It bad enough.
yeah,
But
yeah,
let we be real though.
yeah,
96.1 not playing no man singing about this and rifle and they're not playing that KG. But I just know that was wrong.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
That,
then on top of that too, I didn't care if the radio didn't play it or not. I never was studying that. I was
yeah,
studying to give it to the people.
yeah.
I go and feed the streets.
Mm,
And when we put it out, bro, it just went.
yeah,
And I just rock back and laugh at everybody who just try to
yeah,
pretend like if they knew that it would have work.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, but nobody didn't believe that something like that would have work.
Yeah,
You
man.
know, that aesthetic on a whole was like that is not Trinidad. But the
Yeah,
reality is that is Trinidad.
do that. And another
That
thing,
is real Trinidad.
listen, it's a lot of pretense. I don't know why, like you say, it's one of those things. We all know that is there's two sides to a coin. Let's put it that way, right? And we all know, not just in Trinidad, in the Caribbean. I live out here in the U.S. and a lot of times they talk about the Caribbean, thinking about white sand and blue waters, but we all know behind the curtain is a whole different world, a whole different economy. So
Mm-hmm.
it's nothing new, you know. Um, I want to talk about a song that you did called "Must Make It." It's one of them songs that it caught my attention, and the reason why I said it, because like I said, back to the whole Trini Bad thing. There's two sides to the coin. A lot of times we hear the negative side of Trini Bad music, but there's also a lot of positive and motivating songs, inspirational songs as well. How you came up with
Mhm.
"Must Make It"? What was the inspiration behind that project?
Um, I mean, that's the type of music I personally always liked doing.
Yeah,
That real, down to earth type of dancehall.
yeah,
But that song I was in the US for like I think it was like 4 or 5 months. And
yeah.
that was the longest I ever been away from home.
Mm.
So I was going through a little, homesick, home
Yeah,
depression.
it's about
And
time. Mm.
that's why in the chorus I say Granny me gone, please don't worry, because I was missing my grandmother and all them kind of vibes, but I any day I was trying to motivate myself and say, no matter, I must make it through because, like sometimes we might leave home and we might miss home, but
Yeah,
sometimes you have to leave the nest to really grow and these type of things now,
yeah, man.
and that time I was in America for that amount of time
Mm.
it kind of was pulling at me,
Yeah,
so I was feeling like, wait, boy, like what going on with me, boy? I wonder if I could sustain my career, boy, away from home, da 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 da. Da. So,
mm.
it's like no matter what I go on, I must make it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Nice,
That's, ac-
nice.
that's actually my favorite song out of every song I ever do. Like something about that song. I just remember like how I was feeling recording that song.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was and a matter of fact, that song was really supposed to be my quote unquote last release.
Yeah, really.
You know, Uh, yeah, but I ended up releasing like 2 or 3 songs after that. But that
Yeah,
was when I was like trying to transition into a new KG. I was trying to figure out. 'Cause I was feeling very underrated, and because
it
we
happens.
all know people like the gunman music and they like the bad man thing. And when people like myself try to sing those type of songs, we
Mm.
don't really get no forward. The people don't support it,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
So after I released that song, I made up my mind that I didn't want to feel underrated no more. I wanted to move on with my career, and I didn't even know what I was going and doing. I just
uh,
knew that I wanted to grow. I wanted to move on,
yeah.
and not too long after is when I found. the whole podcast energy and you know,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That's why I wanted to ask you about that song, man. Because I pay attention to everything. I pay attention to details. I've been looking at your career, you know, and then listen to your podcast, your music, and something about this song. I could tell the passion in the voice and the
yeah.
message I understand. So that's the reason why I asked. All right. So you mentioned the podcast. So at what point did you decide, you know what, I want to jump into this podcast space, man? You know, this things look interesting. You know, what made you decide to step into that world? The
Well,
different.
I was always a fan of podcasts, like probably
Mm,
over a decade now. That was something that I would do on the side, like just look at podcasts,
yeah.
So I always knew I was interested in podcasting.
Mm,
Um, but at the same time too, I just felt like we needed that in Trinidad at the time. We needed a platform. I would look at like the Breakfast Club and different platforms, and I knew in my heart that those platforms were so important to
yeah.
the industry. I would look at academics and Vlad TV and all these different things. I'd be like, this is so powerful. Like this is what we need. We need media.
Yeah.
Like we had the music, we had all these things, but we had no conversation. And so I decided that, if nobody wanna do it, I would do it.
Yeah.
And I also knew I had plenty to say,
Yeah.
you know.
Come
I had a
explain.
lot of things to say.
Mm-hmm.
And even before I did the podcast, I would do like these random videos
Yeah.
where I would like just be talking about certain things. And
Mm-hmm.
people would always, you know,
Yeah.
and life is a hell of a thing too, because I'm not too sure if you know who is Holly B. Toady. If you ever hear the word before.
Holly B.
Yeah, Holly B, yeah.
It, Not Holly B. The original host from the show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Holly B.
Yeah. Yeah. Holly B. Holly B. Okay. Yeah, man. Yeah, I know Holly B,
Right,
man.
right. So Holly B Jr. is
Yeah.
my stepdad,
Eh?
right?
Wow.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
grew up around Holly B and whatnot. And I
Yeah.
remember a time like I was like
I
about
listen, man.
17,
Mm.
and I ended up saying a speech for my mother birthday, and Holly B was there. I was
Yeah.
young. I was into music. I wanted to be an artist. And
Yeah.
he called me over and he was like, "You have a voice for radio." And I
Uh,
never understood what he meant by that. My whole life I would be like, "What? Like, why is that radio voice? I wanna sing. I wanna be an artist."
yeah.
And
Yeah.
today to see like what is do,
Yeah.
it shows that he knew exactly what he was speaking about. Basically, he was just trying to tell me I have a powerful voice.
Yeah.
You know?
You have a voice and a personality for media, pretty much.
Yeah. And I imagine that. I never knew that. I would have never thought, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So
Yeah.
it just goes to show how like the journey of life now.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things when people always see the potential in yourself that you don't see, you know?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, when you say Holly B, I'm thinking like your generation. That's why when I thought, wait a minute, okay, I get it now. Yeah, man, that's a legend, boy. That's a legend, Holly
Yeah,
B.
Holly B, yeah, man.
Yeah, man, that's a legend. All right, so you got into the podcast space. Very successful in the space. It's something that I do enjoy, and there's a just to piggyback. Um, I really enjoy seeing, especially in our industry, which is I would say um Trini podcasters. And what I'm saying this is we all in the same space, right? I did an interview with Corey what last week or week before. I'm sure if you remember Corey Shepard. He did a
Yeah, yeah, for
podcast.
sure. For
Yeah, man.
sure. Yeah.
Good Bridget. And in the podcast, I told Corey, I said, listen, I really enjoy seeing people stepping up and really doing these podcasts in a podcast space. And I never look at each person as a competition. I
Yeah,
always look at it as a way of us getting these stories out there.
for
And
sure.
yeah, because it's very, very important. And I feel like in our culture specifically, we are behind. And one thing one thing I'm putting this out there. You know, you mightn't say it, other people mightn't say it because we all in the same. We all go through the same issues. I'm very sure about that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially soca artists and management. They need to understand that this is part of the ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Look at the Jamaican culture. You look at hip hop culture. That what helps push the culture forward. You see what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep.
So I really, really appreciate the work you've been doing. And I really, 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 really enjoy the podcast.
Yeah,
Now
man.
we talk about the podcast space. Um, big topic, AI and music. You know, you brought it up. It turned into what it turned into.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I think a lot of people have a certain level of misconceptions about the topic. I myself started asking interviews. I mentioned to Mr. Vegas, and he gave his take on AI and music. And I think there's many different opinions on AI and music. We all know where KG stand on AI. So I'm going to give you opportunity to elaborate your position on AI and music because I think some people may have a misunderstanding on because AI been around in music. Let's put it that way. But I think for you is like you don't like the fact that I'm gonna come up with a whole song in AI. Am I correct on that?
Not necessarily.
Mm.
So my you see, AI is AI,
Yeah.
right? AI is AI. AI is artificial intelligence,
Right. Right.
right? So AI is not necessarily one thing. You
Mm.
know, AI is AI, right? I have no problem with artificial intelligence.
Mm.
I have a problem when somebody trying to insult my intelligence.
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence is one thing.
Mm.
Insulting people intelligence is another thing. You
Mm.
understand? So let's say for instance, I want to do a song with AI
Mm.
and I go on this app and I am truthful to what I am doing.
Yeah.
Let's just say I prompt the app.
Mm.
I put in a few words
Mm.
and I just allow the AI to spit back whatever the AI spit back at me.
Right.
When you get that product now, you
Mm.
are to be truthful about what this product is.
Right.
Now, if you decide to go on a stage
Mm.
and basically lip sync the
Mm.
robotic voice, to me,
Mm.
you are a fraud.
Mm. Milli
But if
Vanilli.
you take the AI, like
Yeah.
let's make an example, Sheldon Mendoza,
Yeah.
right? He created an AI.
Mm.
He also created an animation for the AI,
Yeah.
and he has the animation, which
Mm.
is a female voice. So he created a female,
Yeah.
and she is singing this AI song. I have no problem with that
Mm.
because he is being truthful about what this is. This is not my voice. This is a robotic voice. So I
Mm.
also took time to create an AI for the voice,
Yes.
and I'm selling it as a product.
Mm.
Nothing wrong with that.
Mm.
Me and NCW now had a little back and forth because he was taking the AI song
Mm.
and then he was coming on the media and pretending that he was singing it.
Mm.
That is the problem. Just put out the AI,
Yeah.
tell people, yo, I use Suno,
Yeah.
here what come out of it. All
Yeah.
right, song good.
Mm.
But you try and you on a radio station lip syncing and
Mm.
trying to make people, and then majority of his following is
Yeah.
older folks.
Mm.
So they would not see it how I would see it.
Yeah.
You know, they would just see him doing his thing and be like, keep doing your thing.
Yeah.
But what is he doing? Prompting an AI app and pretending that he is talented.
Mm.
I do agree with it and I can't agree with it. That is why we asked him the question of he claim he's a pan man.
Yeah.
So we say, use a man who passionate about pan. You in the pan yard, you grinding with the kids and them in the pan yard, teaching them how to play this pan.
Yeah.
Would you go in the grandstand to look at AI pan?
Mm.
Imagine a ranger from a pan side going on Suno
Yeah.
and they're just playing it through the speakers and men pretending to play.
Yeah.
They're not playing, you know. They
Mm.
cannot play. The app, they say Suno, putung, 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 and the Suno generate whatever spit out a pan.
Yeah.
A full pan side of plane. Can you tell the app, give me 15 10 a pan, 10
Right.
bass, da, 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 da. It
Yeah.
spits it out for you. And then you go on in panorama, and then you lip sync in the pan. And the speakers play in the pan. And then
Right.
that becomes panorama.
Yeah.
Would they be okay with that?
Mm.
Nobody would be okay with that.
Nah.
It must have a line. They
Right.
talk about auto tune. They talk
Yeah.
about um these tones. They say
Mm.
that AI. But
Mm.
bro, let me be real. You could download how much tones you want. You
Yeah.
still had a some level of talent to play that.
Yeah.
You still have to know how to quantize. You still have to know how to mix a beat,
Yeah.
compression,
Mm.
for it to sound good.
Yeah.
Not
Mm.
just about KGs use artificial tones, AI. But all
Mm.
you come in my studio and build a beat.
Yeah.
See if that same AI will help you.
Mm.
You still have to be talented. You still have to have some level of talent.
Mm.
Auto tune. You still have to know how to hold a key.
Yeah.
You still
Yeah.
have to know how to breathe when you're singing. You still have to, for it to
Mm.
sound good.
Yeah.
We ain't just saying, man, anybody could use what they want. But we
Mm.
talking about, but would it sound good?
Yeah.
But I know the AI is definitely going to make you sound good
Yeah.
with 2% of prompting. I can't even call it talent.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
bro, I went on the app,
Yeah.
Suno app, because I wanted to see
Right. How it works.
what these men doing.
Yeah.
Now I know about technology. I just grab onto technology easy. So
Right.
it
Right.
take me about 2 minutes to
Mm.
figure out how to use this app.
Mm.
It's so dread. It have a free version. I didn't even have to pay for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So it's free. I go
Mm.
on my phone. I
Mm.
say, give me a soca beat. I
Yeah.
say, kutung ting kiting, tudung titong kashitadu.
Yeah.
It send back a mix and master soca rhythm to me in 10 seconds.
Yes.
I couldn't believe.
Yeah.
My sister was next to me.
Right.
I say, Gil, sing something. She's not even a singer. I say,
Yeah.
just sing like 10 lines about your life, say your name. She was like, my name is Carlan. Ting, ting, and she's singing. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
AI spit back a full verse.
Yeah. How many song?
And this person has zero talent.
Uh,
So it showed me how easy it was to create something on these apps.
right. Right.
And I could never respect that. And I am hearing a lot of music right now. And I could hear that is AI.
Yeah, I must listen. I had a brethren send me a whole album, but he told me, he said, bro, I know you feel about AI, but check out my AI album. I wanna listen, not laughing, but at the same time, I'm like, to the untrained ear, you
Right. Hear
perfect to
what
the
people saying. People listening to like the vocal tones and thing and
mm,
saying, but it's song ain't good. But if you
yeah,
listen to the song itself,
yeah,
that is a horrible song.
yeah. Like I said, to the untrained ear, it was
That,
sound good, but
that is not no song. Had no emotion in it, no feeling.
it's too clean.
It's just like a robot singing a song for you.
Yeah, too clean. No
I
kind of emotion.
carry that. I carry that. I'm
All right.
sorry.
No, fair enough, man. You know you're passionate. You know when it comes to the music, you're passionate, man. I definitely want to touch base on that. So you and NCW went back and forth. And I'm gonna put a disclaimer out there. I did reach out to NCW back then when when the whole thing kind of started, and he let's just say he wasn't too particularly interested I was at the time. But he let's just say you dropped the song Paint Man. No, I think people knew this side. Well, I'll put it this way: we all knew you have a talent because we know you're the artist, the producer, and everything. But when we hear Paint Man, we're like, wait, he like he kind of like he really it seemed like he really take it to heart with this thing, man. So how Pete Man came together, man. I gotta ask you, what was
Well,
what
I
the most,
mean,
but how the whole concept came about?
well, we well connected, you know. People that tell us things.
Yeah,
And from the time people realize that he did sing a song about me,
yeah,
men had to just ring down my phone and who had to give me information. Because I being real, I didn't know a thing about NCW before the situation. I
mm,
just knew NCW as a man that's be on the internet making stale jokes. You
yeah,
know, I never even knew him as a comedian. I never looked at him as a comedian. He was never important to me at no time in life.
yeah,
You know, so when I had to diss him now, because he dissed me first
yeah,
with the AI thing. We was on our live and I actually apologized on the live and we went our way. I
yeah,
thought we was good,
mm,
you know, but I was still bashing AI. I
yeah,
wasn't bashing him, but I
mm,
was on my AI run. You know, I was talking about this whole AI thing, and he probably think because I was still talking about AI, I
yeah,
probably was talking about he. But I
yeah,
never apologized for not liking AI. I apologized for disrespecting you. Because you
right,
probably felt like I shouldn't have said this and I shouldn't have said that. And I was like, all right, bro, I apologize. And started to realize that he was still using my imagery and all those things to push his AI music, you
yeah,
know, and boom shot. I can't remember something was said or something, and the next day I see a song out, my name in it,
yeah,
and he probably really didn't know who was KG,
yeah,
you know, and he make a mistake. You
yeah,
know, when I doing these types of things, I just go all out. You know, I
yeah,
not going and jump on a track to
mm,
come halfway just because I know you're not ready.
mm,
I want to show you that you're not ready.
yeah,
You know, and that is exactly what I do. That some people say, oh, they didn't like how I put the gun lyrics in it. Bro, I a Trini Bad artist.
yeah,
They
mm,
wanted me to do a calypso. I'm not a calypsonian.
yeah,
You then this a soca artist. You
mm,
this a dancehall artist. That's how we does clash.
yeah,
You know, we does clash hard. You know, and we found out some things. You know, and we slip it in the song. You
yeah.
know,
I heard the song. I remember the first time I heard the song. I say, "Wait, wait, yeah, wait." The
yeah,
first
you
time,
got to relax. You got to relax.
Jano. All right, so moving past that. All right, moving past that. So once again, another little piece of bacchanal took place on the podcast with your boy Benji. What happened with that whole situation, man?
Ah, boy, first and foremost, I was say big up Benji, you know. Benji, even up to this day, Benji thinks that we are enemies,
Yeah,
you know, because, we're not accustomed to this yet,
yeah,
you know, in Trinidad, you know,
yeah,
certain types of journalism or certain types of media, whatever, you know.
yeah,
So I knew that I would have stepped on a lot of toes and I would have make a lot of enemies in the industry.
yeah,
But I have no problem with that, real
mm,
to real, because be- before I say certain things, especially when it came to Benjai,
yeah,
I make sure and give him like all his flowers and, you know, like really stressed on the fact that he's one of my favorite artists and all these things, you know. But he
mm,
would ignore all of that and just run to the part where I just being honest now. So it's
yeah,
almost like I could be honest about everything, but
mm,
when it comes to all I said was, you know, like I find like you should just put in a little more work, you
yeah,
know, and I was really speaking from a position of a young one in the industry today. What
yeah,
do we look at as hard work in 2026? Is
mm,
not what all you would have like back then. Them would have just go to the studio, cut a tune, send it to the radio station. Man, go book here. You come out on the stage, give your best performance. You know, go on tour, wherever, and that is like hard work to them.
yeah,
But to us, we want to see content. We want to see consistent music video productions. We want to see a lot of work for we to really say, all right, you up there with Marshall or you up there with, you know. You
yeah,
can't just sing a one, two song for we in the carnival and expect it to be, you know, something. And I all I was basically saying, and he
yeah,
probably thought like when I used the word lazy, I
Yeah.
meant like him as a man, or you know, no, it's not that. I know what is a lazy artist. I just be around them every day. You know, like artists can't be lazy. That is why they have management teams and all these things. You know,
Yeah.
because an artist's job is just to do the music. You
Yeah.
know, and most likely is your manager who would make sure that you wake up early to go to your video shoot or whatever. Da, 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 da. So
Right.
I understand, but I was just trying to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, and you know how this go. Honesty does always get me in trouble.
No, well, listen, I appreciate the honesty. And once again, like I mentioned, we in the space hear all these stories. These things are not specific to Benja. We're not just beating at him, but
Yeah,
as the
yeah, yeah.
industry itself. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we in the industry at a certain
Then
level.
no,
So
yeah,
yeah,
you
the whole
know.
conversation that goes around between DJs. I mean, anybody we know about these things. I mean, I have conversation behind the scenes with managers, and they mightn't call names, but they will just talk about, yeah, yeah, like you say, some people there's oh,
Plenty of them what less. Plenty of them what less. You know.
there you go. We want to get we listen. We're not bashing anybody, but like you said, these things that goes on in the industry, and nobody talks about it on a platform. They just keep it among themselves. But in order for us to grow as a people, as artists, as anybody in the industry, we need to hold ourselves accountable. You know. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was an interesting piece of conversation there, man. I laughed, but I ain't gonna lie, but I laughed, but I laughed.
You know, big up Benji, way, big up Benji. Benji is still one of my favorite artists.
Yeah, man. Big
You
up
know,
Benji.
man.
Cool,
Oh,
man.
that's good.
All right. So what's one of your most memorable? I mean, this far, so as of now, what's one of your most memorable interviews that you did? Because you did quite a number of interesting interviews.
If I had to be real honest with you, I
Yeah.
think that the most impactful interview was actually an interview with no artist. That was the interview where it was me and Naldo. No,
Mm,
no, that was Naldo. That was Visa. Yeah, and that was when I broke down the whole big links, the Trinidad killer with the big links
yeah.
thing. You know, I felt like after that, that kind of put me up a little bit because people kind of started to realize the way how I would articulate myself was different to the average journalist or whatnot, you
Yeah.
know. I think that when the eyes really came on me, like, who's this man, boy?
Yeah.
And I remember when Trinidad Killer first jumped on the rhythm without permission,
Yeah.
everybody was bashing him. Nobody was taking his side. Man was like, bro, you cannot do that. You know, like you have no case here. And
Yeah.
then when I came and I gave my explanation about the whole situation,
Yeah.
I
Different perspective.
literally saw the whole narrative change. You know, Nicki Minaj came in and thing and like everything changed, you know, because narratives are so important
Yeah.
and context is so important, you know, and I felt like Trinidad Killer didn't have the ability to give the context because
Yeah.
he was not wrong. He
Yeah.
wasn't right either, but
Mm,
he was not wrong,
yeah.
you know. And I felt like when I gave my perception of the whole situation,
Yeah. Yeah.
that kind of change, it changed a lot, you know, it
Yeah.
changed a lot. And I when I realized how powerful my voice was too,
Yeah.
you know. So that was literally like very memorable,
Mm.
for me, I would say.
Yeah, that was a good one, man. And once again, like I said, you gave a different perspective that a lot of the average person don't know. Once again, behind
Yeah.
the scenes, a lot of things that goes on that a lot of people are not
Mhm.
privy to and don't understand. It wasn't a two right make a wrong type of thing, but the- I think what I'm trying to say is one of those things that Killer did what he had to do
Mhm.
at that
Mhm.
particular time. Was it right? Was it wrong? It could be interpreted many different ways, but there was a reason why that happened, and that's
Yeah, yeah,
what.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So let me see. Brand ambassador for Road Boy. Congratulations. How the whole project, whatever project, how the whole sponsorship and ambassadorship came about.
Um. Well, I think that
Mm,
I went to do an interview with Rude Boy. They
yeah.
just called me to just be on the Rude Boy platform,
Yeah.
and I think it was from there where they kind of saw my worth. Because around that same time too, I was really, buzzing with certain conversations,
Yeah,
and I was doing well. Like I was seeing my trajectory, I was seeing my whole career going up now, and I
yeah,
felt like when I went to do the interview, with Rude Boy,
yeah,
the way how I handled the interview, same way too, they kind of saw I had value in me
yeah,
and decided to, to give me a contract and big up Rude Boy, like
yeah,
for
man.
seeing that vision because
Mm.
most companies would run from figures like us, they would think that we too controversial or we
Yeah,
too real or we too honest,
yeah,
you can't really control us, but Rude Boy literally told me that we love what you do and we are not even going to tell you what to do. You
nice,
just be KG.
nice.
And I mean, nothing wrong with KG.
Yeah,
KG, nothing wrong with me. It's
yeah,
just that I am just very honest and very passionate about the things that I speak about,
yeah.
and that's
Well,
basically it.
that's good, man. I mean, big up to Rubo and the whole company, man, because a lot of times these partnerships, they don't want you to do this, you can't say that, and they want to control your creative process. So the fact that they give you opportunity to be yourself, you have to commend them on that.
Yeah, they had a very young team,
Yeah,
dealing with certain things, and I feel because of that too,
yeah,
they understand that, bro, that is what we lacking,
yeah,
We lacking people like KG, like
yeah,
there's the entertainment business. We need that. We need it. We need it.
yeah. I like.
So
Mm.
yeah.
Well, this part of the podcast is called 2000 Questions About Me. I'm not going to ask you 2000 questions, obviously. It's based on a
Mhm.
book that I have. So I'm going to ask you to pick a number from 1 to 2000, and the number you pick will be the question that's asked out of the book.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
22.
22. All right. 22. Let me see. 22. I'm glad because some people are going crazy with it too, man. 22. All right. What do you most value in your friends? What do you most value in your friends?
um, I would say loyalty.
Mm,
Yeah, loyalty is very important in this life.
yeah, yeah. Facts. Facts. All right. Well, at this point, man, that's gonna wrap it up. Pretty much gonna open up the floor for you. Any last statements you want to make? And the floor is yours.
I mean,
Mm,
big up yourself,
yeah,
for bringing about the platform. And as I say, we just here trying to keep it real.
yeah, man.
Trying to continue to have real conversations that could push the thing forward,
Yeah, man.
never to bring it down. You know, um, yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah. Well, I just would definitely want to once again, man, commend you and your success, and I'm really proud. Like I said, when I see young guys like yourself really stepping up and going after your talents and your gifts. You definitely have a gift, and a lot of young folks are looking up to you, man. So
For
once again,
sure.
thanks for your contribution to the arts and culture, and keep doing your thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Respect.
Yeah, man. So give thanks, man, for taking time out your
Thank
busy
you.
schedule. Much
Yeah,
appreciation.
man.
Yeah, man.
Respect, bro.
Yes, I. Ladies and gentlemen, talks with KG. Bless.
Yeah, man.